Alright, so here's a little tour of Legacy of the Dragonborn. So, it the Dragonborn Museum is in Solitude, and you can get there at any point in the game. And if you go to an inn, there will be a flyer saying Seeking Treasure Hunters.
Oh, hello.
And you make your way over here to the Blue Palace, and then, lo and behold, there's a new building for us. The Dragonborn Gallery. So I've already started this and progressed quite a bit. Which means I've got a little donation box here. It's a nice little passive income. People will give me a little bit of gold each day. Kind of based on how many displays you have, I think. 186 displays currently. Seems like about every 50 displays, there's like some new progress in the Dragonborn gallery quest line. It's a really neat building too. Just displays everywhere. Those paintings you saw in the entryway, those were paintings I found in the game and placed. These are items that I found on my adventures and just donated them to the museum. Of course, as I'm showing you here, you can take an item back at any time and place it back. So it's putting things in the museum doesn't mean they're gone. You have full access to them. And in fact, you can build replicas and put those in the museum instead, if you'd prefer. And there's also a way to sort items into the museum slots automatically, so that you don't have to know where every item goes. This thing is packed full of quality of life features like that. There's a book you'll see me using it here in a minute, the Curator's Guide, that it gives you a quest marker for the Curator, Arian, or you can teleport around the museum to get exactly where you need to go. There's even clothing if you want to look like the Curator. Here there's Arian's notes, so he's been researching items and you can go find them, take initiative to go find them without a quest if you'd like. Over here, so there's a replica workbench, and then there's a way to sort items through the chests here, like there's store supplies up top. So this is the interface for building replicas. It's pretty nice. I've stored that bow, so I don't need to build a replica of it, but like the hip bone is a quest item, so you pretty much need to make a replica of that. There's a bunch of quest items that you get temporarily and you give away as part of the quest, right? And those are the ones where replicas are particularly useful, or items that you would like to be using. So I mentioned the sorting system. That chest I just looked in is like the junk chest, like the items it doesn't know how to sort. The display prep station you'll use a lot, and those supply crates there that I just looked at, those are really useful too. Those are scattered throughout the world, like at inns and fast travel stations, and you can drop your items off there, and then 5 hours later, those items will appear back at the museum, and you can pick them up and either put them on display, put them in the sorting chest, something like that. Yeah, lots of interesting places to go in this museum. It's huge. It's easy to get lost. It takes a while to like learn to navigate the museum. So I really recommend the Curator's Guide to fix that problem. So I just picked that quest, but I didn't have it selected in my journal, so I wasn't actually getting the navigation marker. But you'll hear that Arian sneezes, and that's actually how I figure out where he is.
Good to see you again. See you around.
There's so many displays for books. Just absolutely so many. I kind of wonder if I'm having a conflict, because there was one of the bookcases was for skill books, and none of my skill books have sorted into that yet, and I found a ton. So I kind of need to figure that out. Maybe might have to place them manually, because I think one of the mods in this mod list actually renames skill books, and that might interfere with the automatic sorting system. And that's probably the reason why they didn't get automatically sorted. This one here, the Dragonstone, I have a replica of the Dragonstone, but for some reason it's not getting placed on that display. That's another one where I don't quite understand what's going wrong there. I think this mod, the sorting works flawlessly if you're playing vanilla Skyrim with this mod. This is actually the Equanimity, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, mod list off Wabajack. So it's got, 400 mods or something that are all changing things a little bit. And I think maybe the museum doesn't work flawlessly with that list loaded. So here's a place, this is a book building station, so you can build replicas of books. In fact, I need to do that with the King Olaf's Verse, a quest I recently finished. And I had to give the book to the Bard's College, right, as part of the quest line. But you can build a replica here. Or, in the case of books, it's just another copy. If you're new to this mod, I recommend sort of padding out your item counts to get progress by filling up the armory. Because you get, like if you go out fighting bandits and whatnot, you get so much armor, and it's a really quick way to get your first 50, 100 items, something like that, is just, populating these stands. Which, of course, I don't recommend doing manually. Instead, I go to the prep station. You'll see me do it later, actually, with some of my items that I need to drop off. But use the display prep. Don't come in the museum and place items yourself. It would take you so long. I mean, you can if you want, but I would definitely use the automated system. I think that display might have been full. You'll also notice one of the mods has added like little icons when I mouse over items. The ones that have the green check mark, that means the items in the museum. Don't need any more. Some will have a plus sign instead of a check mark, and that I think means that you have at least one item of that kind in the museum, but there's displays for multiple. There's a red hand. The red hand seems to indicate that it's in your inventory, but not in the museum yet. I don't know what mod is adding that functionality, but it's so nice. This is the first time I've played with Legacy of the Dragonborn with that particular feature, and it is so very nice. It gets a little out of sync too. There's like a background script that has to run to update that list, but just give it a few minutes and it'll fix itself, in my experience. And I don't even show you half of the rooms here in the museum. Just go to a couple. I came in here and realized I haven't built any of the displays, so you actually get to see me interacting with the content. And this is something I recommend when you play this mod, is actually just come into the galleries periodically and check them out. One, they're cool, but also you can come in here and realize, oh, I didn't build the wolf display yet. And so I say, build it from the items in storage, and I've put enough wolf pelts and whatnot in storage that just worked. See it with the elk. Some of them fail, and it's nice when they fail because it'll actually tell you what you're missing. Like, oh, you're missing like a horker tusk. Yeah, there's an example. I apparently haven't killed any horkers with this character. I have pretty good carry weight, so I've just been grabbing everything and dropping it off at the museum. And I have a mark and recall spell too, so it's really convenient for this particular character to drop stuff off at the museum. If you don't have like the mark and recall, as I was saying, there's like these museum shipping crates, and they're at inns, they're at fast travel, and they're at player homes. And just look around a little bit and you'll see them. And put whatever items you want in there, and then when 5 in-game hours pass, they'll just be at the museum next to the display prep. It's so nice. Like, I haven't even really been selling items. because I've been just dropping everything off in the museum. The upside is eventually you have so many items and you do need some cash, and so this mod also gives you a way. There's a sell pile. You can sell things for cheap with a sell pile, or you can just go to the shops in Solitude, and the shopkeepers in Solitude have quite a bit of money. You've got a general store, you've got a clothing store, Radiant Raiment, bits and pieces is general store, and then the blacksmith. And between those NPCs, you can offload a lot pretty quick. And this mod pack has Relics of Hyrule, so there's a bunch of fairy jars there. I apparently haven't found very many. I didn't have any reagents with me, or else you can populate plants there, and it grows just like in the player homes.
How can I help?
Only through understanding are we able to thrive rather than survive, and knowing the native flora and fauna of Skyrim. We could certainly help in your travels. I hope to catalogue every species of plant and animal here, so any sample you may come across could prove valuable in growing the flora and building lifelike fauna exhibits.
We also have a full gemological exhibit as well as a living tide pool, both fantastic additions. And upstairs, we have a simply breathtaking exhibit for fossilized specimens.
I haven't found any of the fossils yet. I don't even know how you find that content. Oh yeah, this is an interface to get back to the sorting chest. So it's got tabs for like potions and things like that too. The sorting chest is very nice. You know, if you only have one chest, you can fill it with as many items as you want, but of course it opens very slowly and you have to sort through everything. So this mod sort of addresses that by giving you lots of specialized containers, like here's where your alchemy goes, here's where your potions go, here's where your one-handed weapons go, so on and so forth. I really like this Red Mountain display. And it even gives you like the lore, if you stop and read that. There's so many gemstones. I mean, I feel like I've found a ton, and yet this thing just looks so empty, so barren. I like the architecture in this mod too. I feel like the museum's really... The mod author really did a good job with it. Yeah, so here's the fossil exhibit. I don't think I have anything in this exhibit yet. I don't even know where to find it. Probably, there's like these, in the ruins, there's like these archaeology areas, and you can like dig up things at those. That's probably where you find these items. There's also one of the cool things, so I don't want to give too many spoilers about what's in this mod, because it has its own progression, and there's some really interesting surprises. But one of the things that you get after maybe 150 items, I think, is you get an opportunity to build a guild, an explorer's society. And it uses like the Hearthfire sort of features, where there's like a crafting table and you need nails and lumber and that sort of thing, and you like build it in pieces. So you build the guild, and you even recruit the members. And there's like a guild charter, and you and Aryan are like the guild leaders. It's really well done. But I suspect some of those fossil things are probably found through the guild. The guild, you can send the guild members out into the field to do, like go to dig sites and that sort of thing. And there's also apparently quests. I haven't done any on this character where you go out as a team to a dig site. But you can also individually send the members out to dig sites. There's so many displays. Like, I really like the way completionism works with this mod, because as you find the items, you make progress with the museum, right? So that's really cool and interesting. It's like trickling content to you. And then the other nice thing about it is the items go on display. So it's not just like you made a counter somewhere go up in your inventory. It's like, no, those items actually are on display. More patrons come to the museum and they donate more and so on. And it's just a very holistic approach to completionism that I really appreciate. And you know, I'd like to see more games that have like item collection as a big part of them do things like this. So I cut out a bit there because there's kind of some spoilery content, I realized. Alright, so this is like the player house that's part of the museum. It's called the safe house. It has every type of crafting here in this room. And there's a thing you can toggle called craft loot. And craft loot is great because all those, when I go to the sorting chest and dump items in it, they go into their respective containers. Like, you know, potion reagents go over here, potions themselves go over here, scrolls, blah, blah, blah. Then if you toggle craft loot on, then when you go to these workstations, it will merge those inventories with your player inventory as long as you're in the crafting menu. And then when you leave the menu, those items go back into their containers. And so you don't have to like load up on all the things you might think you want to craft with and then go craft and then return them. Like it's all just seamlessly handled for you. It's fantastic. It makes crafting such a joy compared to the way it works in vanilla. And there's so many mannequins you can display things. All the workstations from down below are here. There's no prep station, so you still need to do that downstairs. You know, there's a spot for extra keys. That little strong box there is if you use the sale pile, the money from it goes into that lockbox. This little armory area here, the thing in the middle is that sale pile. Anything that goes into the sale pile will get sold off after like a day, and it sells for like kind of pennies on the dollar sort of thing. Like the people you're selling it to get a bulk discount. But it's a great way if you're kind of late game and you don't care about your speech and that sort of thing and you just want to offload stuff to get money, you can. In fact, there's a treasury somewhere in this museum. Again, I don't want to spoil it too much. And you can put, I can't remember if it's 2 million coins or 200,000 coins. It's absurd amount. But the treasury will become more opulent and flush with cash as you put money into it. So there's also incentive to like be a completionist in terms of money making in this game. Because, you know, vanilla Skyrim, like, after a certain point, you're wealthier than God and you don't need anything else, right? So, at least they gave you, like, an incentive to do something with that cash in this. And all of these items were placed again by the sorting chest. I didn't have to go around and say, like, you know, amulets go over here or anything. I just dumped them all in the sorting chest and it took care of that stuff. That's kind of cool. There's an animation for the bathtub. It's nice and steamy. I kind of wish I lived in this safe house, like IRL, because like it's kind of nice. Like Arian, I don't know where he sleeps. He just sleeps on like a bunk bed on the first floor next to the prep station or something, and then but the player sleeps here. Like Arian really could have taken some nicer quarters. Like, yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. Nice guy, but he kind of screwed himself. Nice little like ship in a bottle there. Yeah, I like the way they decorated this place. And, you know, there's an alcohol cabinet. It's just to the side. I'll look at it in a second. So you can, you know, you can kind of role play like a party or something, because you can just like access all of your alcohol here. And there's so many entrances in and out of the safe house. You can see that one to put me directly back in the museum next to the prep stations. I think this is where Arian sleeps, in one of these beds. It's like the servant quarters, but that's where he wants to sleep, whatever. Yeah, so here's back to the prep station. So those crates there were the shipping ones. If you want to... So if you use this here, it will search your inventory and look for items to place in the museum. And it takes a while. Like, I think it took like a minute or two to run that script. That store supplies is a great chest for automatically going through your inventory and sorting the items that aren't equipped and aren't favorited. Again, this is the miscellaneous chest. It's just where things I didn't know how to sort went. And this Curator's Guide is a great way to move around the museum. I decided to walk there myself just to get some practice moving around, but I typically use that guide to move around to the different rooms of the museum because it's huge, and the load times are pretty slow on this mod list because there's a lot of mods.
Came from town and sold their spoils, and my contacts informed me of a rare item amongst the haul. I thought you may want to use it, or perhaps place it on display.
So that right there, that happened because I hit the next increment of 50 items. So I hit 200 items. So Arian's like, oh, hey, by the way, got a cool relic. That's not a vanilla item, I don't think. I think that was added by Legacy of the Dragonborn. My character's a mage, pure caster. I don't have any use for a shield. So I immediately go back to the Hall of Heroes, which takes me here. And then I show you this chest here with the blue lid. You can put specific items in it instead of having the mod search through your inventory. If you know, like, I want this item to go on display, you can just drop it in there, say, yeah, put it in the right spot. And it's much faster. You see, it doesn't take like 2 minutes this time. It takes a little bit of time, but it takes, 30 seconds or something. And then it pops up saying, yep, got a new item.
Need something? Yes.
And initially the museum doesn't have any guards. I think that guard might have started working here when I got to 200 items as well. And there's, like I said, there's surprises. So some of the like tiers that you hit, like stuff will happen. Like that guard started working there. There's another guard that started working earlier. I got the guild hall. It's a good mod about like keeping things fresh. And then this is the Explorers Guild that I mentioned earlier. One of the cool things about this guild is these chests are linked to the ones in the safe house and the other parts of the museum. There's a guild merchant, quartermaster, whatever you want to call it, and you get good prices from them. They have reasonable, I think she has 1,800 gold. Sells useful items. I think I bought like the backpack that I have off of her, because who doesn't love carry weight? Yeah, there I have that Dragonstone replica. I gotta figure out what's going on with that, because I should be able to place that on the display, but it didn't seem to be working earlier. Archaeology Workstation lets you build like reconditioned relics. So there's a perk system for the guild, and the perks are actually pretty powerful. I look at all the ones that I have access to here for you, and there's a way to reset your perks. So you can even take whatever perks you want and change your mind later, and there's like absolutely no downside to it. The only perk I have at the moment is like 50 carry weight, and there's like another one for 75 carry weight that I activate by the end of this. Yeah, that one right there. But there's 3 different perk trees. There's one that gives you like essentially combat perks, and one that gives you perks to when you interact with the archaeological dig sites, which is maybe a good one to prioritize. I don't really know. I haven't worried about metagaming this at all. I've just went with the ones that seem super helpful, which I always love to increase my carry weight in Skyrim, just so I can carry as much stuff back, especially with this mod, with the Legacy of the Dragonborn. It's so nice to just fill up your inventory. There you go, I picked that one. Plenty of carry weight now. And the guild hall eventually can get access to like relics that also give perks. But I haven't progressed far enough to do any of those quests. I just know that's a thing. And here I noticed that the display for the guild charter is empty, but the guild charter is on the table, so I was like, oh, well, I should put that on the wall. And that's a nice little touch. Like, you can just kind of display it there for everybody to see. And that's pretty much everything that I want to show you. There's definitely way more to this mod.